everyone. This is Dianne, and on the Nivedita and Dianne Hour, and I am so thrilled today. Like you would not believe it. This is like a dream come true for me for many reasons. And I'll tell you why in a moment. So let me just quickly introduce myself because I have a gentleman here. I just want to get as much as I could possibly can from him. So my name is Dianne Ojar, as you know, and I am the experiential coach. What I do is I thrive to give that experiential breakthrough experience and through the modalities I use and the gifts and talents. And, I gear towards, career driven men and women 30 and plus, and those who are willing to invest themselves to help them take it to the next level. And how we do that, we do it with this, we do it through webinars, we do one-on-one and coaching. And one thing I'll tell you, I can guarantee you that you will have results. Why? What you put into it, you get into it, out of it, right? Plain and simple. So now that's a little bit about me. Please, Nivedita, you can introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nivedita Saraswati from Melbourne in Australia, and I'm the owner and director of my virtual healing center. And this center is a virtual healing center for helping you to become your best self, to overcome all emotional, spiritual blockages, and through all the many, many modalities that I actually have, and of which there are very many. And then I'm very excited because I've just finished my weight management course, which helps me to be a really great consultant for helping people with obesity, and utilizing soul, heart, mind, and body techniques as well in that, so that it's a really deep connection with yourself to help you release everything that you need to release. So I'm very happy with that. So great.
Thank you.
It's lovely to be here.
Absolutely. And it's my pleasure to introduce Pundit Rishi Ojar. Now, let me just say something right now. And those who are joining us, please catch us on the replay, put in your comments. If you have any questions for Pandit Rishi, I'm going to call him Rishi, but he's going to call us Auntie. So it's a matter of respect, so get used to it. It's a matter of respect and culture as well. And, Rishi comes from Trinidad and Tobago, resides in Trinidad, but I'm going to let him talk about it. But please, if any comments, catch us on the replay. Go ahead, Rishi.
Sitaram Namaste. I am Pundit Rishi Ojar from Trinidad and Tobago. Very short and sweet. We, as a Pundit, we are spiritual teachers, spiritual gurus that we enlighten people, both physically, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally. So a Pundit duty is not just only a spiritual level, but also people need help on different level also. So we do our utmost best as pundits in the world, basically, right? Not only I as an individual, but we do our best to help society. We give back into society.
Beautiful. So we all here to serve humanity. That this is what we're doing. So we don't usually script things, but we will be talking about ancestral lineage. But we were having a little conversation prior to the show, which I really want to address, because you had said a lot of the wisdom and the gurus and the culture, a lot of it came from the East. So why don't you just explain to us that? And I'm going to put you on full screen so you can talk about this.
Sitaram, everyone. So before we had this conversation, other conversation came up about different gurus and different teachers. And I indicated to them that the great men in society, they came from the East. And as a matter of fact, as one may call it, religion, or where we follow our doctrine or our scriptures, whether it be Ram, Krishna, Allah, Buddha, Christ, whatever form of background, the great men, they came from the East, where it is either India, China, Bethlehem, Mecca, all these different places had the greatest people in society. And all great men came from the East. Their mind, their virtues, their thinking, their teaching was beyond this world. So it is not like a discrimination of what one say that great men then came from different part, but we all stem from something, and that basically is our roots, basically, where we came from there and we venture into other places to teach other people our teachings and our doctrine.
That's beautiful. So let me ask you this question just off the bat. We talk about ancient wisdom. And we talk about the wisdom, and we talk about ancient Chinese wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also talk about Hinduism. Somehow there's a disconnect. People disconnect it, not realizing it's one of the same wisdom, whether it be Lao Tzu, or it could be you name it, whoever it is. It all stems because a lot of these writings were done many, 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 many thousands of years ago. And yes, what we're living in today, and really and truly, because we talk about oneness, we're all doing this oneness. We have an original soul, we have a reincarnated soul. For those who believe it or not believe it, we're not here to convince anybody about any of this. We're just here to educate. I learned a lot too as well, just even having conversations from you. Oh, by the way, yes, we are related. Everybody must be trying to figure that out by now. So that's why he calls me auntie. I know people in the back. Yeah. So anyway, now we got over that. But it's not true in terms of people seem to say it came from here, just like they say spaghetti came from China, from such and such place.
Italy.
Right. No, it didn't come from Italy originally. I believe it's Chinese.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. But anyway, that's not my point. My point I'm trying to say is we always say things come from a certain place because that's what we're used to. But that's not true. So where the Gita and the Quran and all of this, the Torah, all of this, where did it stem from? Like you said, the East. But somehow people have a misconception, and when people reword it or edit it based on their, teachings, it seemed to be some confusion there.
For example, Hinduism, the word Hinduism, I always explain to people, the word Hinduism is an English word itself. Because in Hinduism, as how history was, right? The Indian people were crossing this river. And it was the Indus from the Indus to the Sindhu River. And when they asked them who they are, right? And they responded where they came from the Sindhu River, right? And the people on the other side, they didn't understand, and they started to call them Hindu people. But we have Vedantists, which means we study the Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sam Veda, the Atharva Veda, the Bhagavad Gita, which is the hymn of Bhagavan Krishna himself, the Sanskrit, the language itself, Sanskrit, is vast. People doing it is so highly intellect that people don't even speak it. What do you think about it?
Okay, so stay on that for a moment. Navita, you'll jump in here in a second. I am currently, and Navita is a Guanyin lineage holder. And we have to memorize and go through a purification testing, and in order to actually get our certification, where we get the gift of being a Guanyin lineage holder, where we can help people crown chakra blessings and so forth. And yes, it is not a mantra. A song. It's a Sanskrit. So why don't you explain to us what exactly the difference between a song, lyrics, and a Sanskrit? It's in this particular case, this particular Sanskrit mantra is the name of Mother Guanyin plus 87 Buddha.
The 87 Buddhas.
Right? It's names, it's their names. So explain to us, because that's always a confusion of what a Sanskrit is, because you always think about a Sanskrit in a scroll and it's written. So if you can, please explain.
Sanskrit is basically, sorry about that. Sanskrit is basically like how in India there's 156 different dialects, right? You can even have more if so be it, right? But Sanskrit itself is unique itself. So say like you say the word ha, but the word will be joined. It won't be split in one. It will be one whole word. So to read Sanskrit in English and read Sanskrit from the book Sanskrit, the text itself Sanskrit, it will be even much easier to read the text in Sanskrit because you get the proper pronunciation. Because there's like ha and ha, different forms. And as you see, like mantras is once again, it is used in different terms, right? The word mantra is chanting and glorifying and uplifting. When we uplift, yes, we uplift the name of God, we uplift the spiritual being, right? But we also are awaken something in each and every one of us, right? And that our soul, basically, there's a saying, our soul becomes sleepless. It always sleeping, and we have to awaken it from time to time to time to open it up. And every time you say a mantra, could even be English, you could say like God bless Mitaka, God bless Mitaka, God bless Mitaka. I just drew an example, right?
Mhm.
And believe it or not, that will continue and it will activate itself. It is like the power of the subconscious mind. Once you think it, it will happen. So once you believe in something and you implement faith into it, it will manifest itself.
You know, one of the things, and we always say with our grandmaster, spiritual father, always says, you know, just don't say it, sing it.
Sing
And
it.
then take your time, sing it, and sing it as slow as you can for it to integrate. Nivedita.
Yes, it's what happens. The mantra, the names of all the Buddhas, when you are chanting those names, you're receiving blessings from those Buddhas, and it's the same with all the holy saints in India. When somebody's chanting Lakshmi, they're receiving blessings from Lakshmi, and this is one of the reasons we're actually giving respect to all these beautiful Buddhas when we're involved in chanting for our lineage and things like that. And it's very powerful and very profound because you can feel that frequency and that vibration. When you chant the holy names, no matter who it is, then you're feeling that frequency and that vibration, and it's uplifting all the energy in your body and in your consciousness. You know, it's making inroads into the consciousness.
Absolutely. So I believe, Rishi, this might be a good time to give us a little taste.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds
A
great.
Then a mantra, Sanskrit, whatever you like. So go ahead.
Mantra. Okay, well, let us put our hands together as we clasp our hands, as we invite of that Lord Ganesh, that one who removes obstacles, that if we suffer from difficulties or any negativities, we ask this Lord Ganesh to bless each and every one of us, for those who are the hosts and also for those who are listening to us, even from different parts of the world. We ask the Lord Ganesh to enlighten their lives and to bless them and to send healing and blessing to each and every one of us. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Guru Chardana Kamalabhyo Namaha. Om Shri Mata Pita Chardana Kamalabhyo Namaha. Om Yam Brahma Veda Vedo Vadanti Padam Pradhanam Purusham Tatanye Vishwurte Karmanishwaram Tasmai Namo Shri Vigravinashanaya Namaha Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurmi Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Pradam Sabro Shri Gacharam Swami Ki Jai Pradam Sabro Shri Vishnu Bhagavan Ki Jai.
I don't know
That
about
was
you
beautiful.
guys.
I really felt the vibration. It was just wonderful.
It just took you to another place. You don't even
Yeah.
have to understand what he's saying. It's just the flow, the energy, the beauty in the word, in the, well, I'm not going to say words, but it's, you know, what you would consider to be words. It's just so
Because
beautiful.
in the
Translate
scriptures,
it. Translate it now, please. What it
see
means in
that
English.
mantra, the mantra to Lord Ganesh is to remove obstacles physically, mentally, psychologically, academically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever difficulties that
And
you may have,
financially.
Lord.
Ganesh
Huh?
is for finance
No,
as well.
No, well, Lord Ganesh is remove obstacles. Now,
Mhm.
Ganesh
people
removes
financially, what do you mean
obstacles.
financially? People always think about financially like physical financial, but sometimes financial could also be love, mental, all these different things. So
Abundance.
people think that health, one of the greatest health that anybody could achieve is the greatest health is wealth. And
Mhm.
but that is what the mindset of people will think. But the greatest health that you can achieve, right, is your health.
It's
That is the
abundance.
greatest.
It's
Yeah.
abundance. Never
Because
Vita.
you see, people have taught something over and over. For example, I always tell people this. People have been taught sticks and stone may break my bones, my words may never hurt. But unfortunately, words do hurt,
That's right.
right? Words do
Absolutely.
hurt. It is always better for someone to hit, if so be it. I mean, like somebody lash, that eventually will heal. Meaning, I'm condoning that, but meaning that if someone lash you, whether it be a physical lash, but if somebody lash you by vocal words, abusive, right? By today, tomorrow, that lash will heal the physical lash. But 10 days or 50 days, or even 10 years or 50 years, that all will remember, someone told me that I'm fat. So forth, And these things, basically people damages people mental.
Yes, we know about the negative information and positive information. So the negative information is causing the blockages in people, whether they take it on board. And like you say, something could have happened. Somebody could have said something to you many years ago, and then that goes in deep, and that can affect people psychologically. Whereas when you're singing mantras and holy phrases, and actually when you were chanting that mantra, then I remembered quite a bit of it from my early days in yoga when I studied the Vedas and things like that. And that was a long time ago. And so it's very beautiful to feel that frequency again. And my name is Indian, as you can see, but it was an acquired name, was given to me by one of my gurus many, many years ago. And so every word has an effect. It has a positive effect. It helps us. We are great believers in love, peace, and harmony, the soul song that our teacher brought to earth many years ago. And it brings that effect as well. It's the love, peace, harmony radiating to in your heart and in your consciousness and radiating that out to everyone. It's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Nivedita, you're a perfect example for our audience who are joining us. We're here with Pundit Rishi Ojar from Trinidad and Nivedita, and we're talking about, we want to bring a lot of the wisdoms and teaching and understanding and a lot of clarity around all the confusion around a lot of things. That's what we're hoping to do over these notes. Rishi will be with us from time to time. But you're a perfect example. And just very quickly talk about, we did the elephant in the room, which again, Rishi, she would tell you a very brief story about her childhood back when she was a teenager and how that affected her life in her 70s.
Yes, you don't really want to know my life story, but but I had a very traumatic childhood, and to the extent that it caused a lot of psychological damage and damage to my self-esteem as a person for many, many years, up till recently even. And I did the elephant in the room with Dianne because I was wondering what was stopping me from moving forward. And I was talking about my childhood, and she identified a very pertinent thing. And when she identified that, the deep and hidden stuff that I'd been storing all my life, then it was like a light bulb effect, and everything went off. And I thought, wow, that's it. And it made such a shift in my consciousness. And it needs that little light bulb to go off and make that shift. And since then, I've been just a different person and a better person for myself, loving myself more, whereas before I didn't always, because I always had this issue of self-esteem and thought things like that. So it made such a profound difference. And being under the tutelage, being a student of my teacher, we're taught, let go of everything, that's because it's all illusion. Just let go. And it makes it easier to let go when you know why. The reason but why, and of course the karma implicated in that. And I believe you're going to talk about
Yes,
ancestry and karma as well today as well.
absolutely. Great segue. So let's talk about why this always happens, why we have things and stuff and baggage and suffering. Like I said, the world is not suffering. We're suffering because it is the inability for us to detach and release. We like drama. It makes us feel good for some God known reason, and so forth. So why don't we talk about where a lot of this stems from? Because, Rishi might be the angel in this life. But in a previous life, he may not have been such a good person, even myself or Nivedita, going forward. And we bring that with us, all that information, but we also have ancestral lineage. So why don't we talk? Because I know you're very versed in that. So let's talk about ancestral lineage.
Lineage, yeah.
Lineage.
So basically, everybody have karma that they take from their previous birth into this birth, right? The person that we see basically what is in front of us, right? And we identify is basically of this body, right? Now, in all scriptures, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Who am I? Where have I come from? What am I doing here? And where am I going from here?" Now, automatically, the normal human would say by name, you say, "Well, I am Dianne Ojar," right? And then you will say, "Who are you?" And you say, "Where have you come from?" What would you say?
Unto the consciousness, to tell you the truth, if a person didn't know what I know, and I still don't know as much as I believe I know, I do know that I came from many, 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 many lifetimes, and across the board, I didn't know that a couple of years ago. I didn't know.
We,
I
we,
grew up. I didn't grow up in it. In you were going
we,
to
we
grow up,
struggle to find ourselves from time to time. As the saying, you have to lose yourself to find yourself. So basically what I'm saying, who am I? Where have I come from? What am I doing here? And where am I going from here? Right? You will say, probably, if I put it together with me, right? I'm Pundit Rishi. Where have I come from? Well, I come from Trinidad, right? What are you doing here? Well, I'm on a program tonight with these two fine women, right? And then I would say, finally, where do I want to go from here? Well, I want to go back home. Basically, we all want to go back home. But who am I? I'm a soul. Where have I come from? I have come from God, right? What am I doing here? I'm preparing myself to go back to God. Where do I want to go from here? You want to return from where you come from.
the oneness.
The
It's
Exactly.
one,
about oneness, right?
because this is something that people don't understand. People, I always tell people, if you live in New York City, right, and you decide to go to India for a vacation, right, where does your journey end?
Well, in what sense? Your journey doesn't end. To me, it goes on and on and on.
No, your
It
journey
Um,
ends back at
evolves.
New York City.
no, I know. I
You
guess
see,
I'm
that
looking
is
into it
how people
deeper.
would look at it as,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But our journey is more than this. We are human beings. For example, I always tell people, we are not only just made to walk and talk on this earth, we are made to do much more, but we need to tap into it. But unfortunately, this is the age of Kali. Kali means dark, Yog means time. So it is really difficult to get that type. But it will have few of us who are gifts. For example, long time ago, they used to have seers and psychics and things. But due to time and duration of everything, everything has split. So you don't know who is who and what is what. Yeah, if you go to find them, you'll be lucky. Then there might be some schemers also, right? Who will milk you of your wealth, right? And but unfortunately, there are a lot of lost souls that go to these type of people, and it is not because it is the goodness of their heart that they pour out to find truth, and these people will feed in a sense and drain them of everything. And people need, I always tell people need to wake up and know who these type of people are. God won't come to you in front of you and say, "I am God," right? For a man to say, "I am God," but that is ego. But God, if God come to you, you would know who's God if God come to you. The inner self, the spiritual being inside of you. As I was saying, in our scripture it says, "Siya Rama Mai Sabajagajani Karahu Pradhanam Jodi Jagapani." We see God in everybody. Siya Ram means see Sita and Ram in everybody. In your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, auntie, uncle, aji, aja. Whoever it may be, even your best friend and your enemy. But it says, see God and bow to the divinity in God within that person. Because Hinduism or Sanatanis, right? It teaches us, right? The one who bows is even greater than the one who is bowed to, which shows us humility. And humility is something that we are lacking today in society. Because everybody feels that they know more than everybody, and because I know more than you, that I am that and you are that.
Yeah, well, I hope I don't perceive that or put that out there.
No,
What
no,
I
no. It
do know,
is it is how
no,
the mindset of
no,
people is not us, huh? In
no,
general.
I don't. And this is what I'm saying. It's projection, how people perceive it. What we do know is the I am that I am, and where God's light is that the I am that I am is you. You like people looking for the magic bullet, like I said, the magic one. It's all inside of you.
Yeah.
But I know again, like the Tao Te Ching with Lao Tzu says, and this is the first chapter. This is like the the what's the word I'm thinking for? When the very first thing he says, the God that can be named is not the God. The God that can be seen is not the God or divine in this case, right? And more. So if we're going to name and name, then that's not the God. That's like I say, if somebody comes to you, it will come through someone, but they have to recognize. So what we do as well with our gifts and talents as Thou Hands practitioner. And one thing I have to say this, you guys hear me say this. There's two birthdays as far as I'm concerned. The day you're born, so happy birthday. And the day you discover or realize, why you're on this earth for one given reason. And I'm telling you, I didn't see, you don't really know me much. You were younger when you were born and, came from there, was in finance, media, but I just knew there was something. I was different. I don't know. I had to call and I quit my job cold turkey. People thought I was crazy. I didn't know because you have to have a calling. And with Nivedita's help and many people help and my spiritual father's help, I began to understand that this was something that we have done. So when we're in this world, all of this comes naturally to us because we've been there before. We've visited there before. So Rishi could have been a pundit before. Well, you've always been a pundit and want to be a pundit ever since we were young, as far as I understand. So why? It's just, if something comes naturally, it's because it's not unnatural to you.
It's our dharma, isn't it? When it comes naturally, it's our dharma.
It's our dharma, and you feel comfortable. When I was sick recently, I would be sick asking Nivedita. From the time I started to do this show, it's like a burst of energy comes up, boom, my voice gets better, and then when I'm finished, I'm back to whatever. So
because you're serving.
We're serving, but and absolutely, and this is what we're doing, and I want to if people have any questions, please put in the comments or after, and we'll address them. But this is some of the myths that we have about so many things. There's so much to talk about. So let's talk about when we pull and when we carry our ancestral karma. 50% is from our ancestors, and the other 50% is the stuff that we've created along the way. So why don't we talk about what we had talked about before coming up? Let's talk about our lineage, where we came from and so forth, so people can understand how they've moved down. And unfortunately, most people don't know, and I don't. And that's why I look towards you to teach me about our lineage, our family's history. And it's really important for people to understand this, just like the blood type of your parents, the illnesses, if you're adopted, because this will help you have a better understanding about why you're going through some of the things you're going through. And we've had a very deep conversation about this before. So maybe addressing this, and we'll probably do it from time to time because it has a lot to do with that. Nivedita, you have anything to add to that?
I'm just thinking of Tao science and the beliefs of Tao science, that we are one with the power of the universe. We are one with Tao source, and we are protected. And there is a beautiful mantra. I am, how does it go now? I am the inheritor of the whole cosmos. I am loved, protected, and supported by the whole cosmos, divine and Tao, beyond my wildest dreams. I see, feel, and enjoy the sacredness in everyone and everything in every moment without resistance. And that's saying it in a nutshell, that we are what we are. We are the Soham, I am that which is. And we just have to integrate that into our consciousness in order to grow further from that. I mean, we can say the mantra, and it does have an effect, of course, because it's positive information. But when we truly and 100% believe that this is so, this is when the shift happens, the quantum shift within us happens.
That's why the grand unification. But I want to just add something here before we move on. My background is NLP and hypnotherapy. And we do timeline therapy, we do the Tao hands, we do the Tao science, we have Rishi. Listen, guys, it is, it may have, it's like baking a cake. It's a cake, but you may have a red velvet cake, which I'm not a lover of, by the way. You may have a chocolate cake, a vanilla cake, but it's still a cake. So when you look at the teachings and learnings, when I see certain things, and we talk about all of this, when we have some of the other gurus talking about certain things, different words, it's the same thing, except the different words, and depends on the teaching and who is the teacher, right? It comes in a different form, but it's the same thing. We talk about energy, we talk about karma, we talk about dharma, we talk about all these things, energy and vibration. The first time I ever heard about Guanyin was when I was doing my NLP. I didn't understand any of it now, and so forth. So we have to look beyond and eventually decipher it and say, we really all speak in the same language. What even Rishi is saying when he speaks is Sanskrit, and all the Bible, the Quran, everything, and this is not about religion, everybody, is very similar. Just slightly different teaching, depends on who is writing. Is that correct, Rishi?
Yeah. As you say, you so rightly said, is a cake, right? Everybody can have the ingredients to the cake, but only few of us will know the proper method of mixing the cake.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, let's talk, like I said, let's go back to the lineage now. So that's as best as you can. You said everything from the East, and I do believe, I wasn't there, but I do believe that we were all one big mass that we say we were, and we're all one big family, and we all related as we know. And here's the thing about it: people keep saying, "Well, you're not a healer," and so forth. So there's no God. We never said we didn't believe in God. We speak about Tao, but not Taoism. Tao just means source, the way. We talk about, we believe in God, we believe in a higher being. So for some reason, when people think that, we say we have a gift, by the way, we're not the ones who are doing it. We're just the vessels. Just remember that. So this is where we have to give back a gratitude and, virtue back to where it came from. But we don't understand that. We all believe that, we have this, and, that's what the ego kicks in and so forth, because we believe we're special. It's not that we're not special. We're good at what we do. So we look like, people say, well, she knows, she feels she's this, or she feels she's this, or he feels this. But it's just that we've been chosen for this. We're good at what we do. And there's nothing wrong in saying that we're good at what we do, because I'm telling you, I'm good at what I do. You're good at what you do, and she's good at what she does. Doesn't mean we have ego in there. So let's come back now to ancestors. I just want people to understand where we came from, or at least where we came from. Nivedita is half Chinese, so where we came from. So tell us where we came from, which mountain we came from.
So our lineage,
Valley we
the
came from.
Oja's lineage, basically, right? We came from the Himalaya mountains, right? Where the word Oja, it means people who foresee and healers also. That is the meaning of the word Oja. So everybody have a meaning to their name. This is why when you give a child a name, you must give a child a meaningful name. You just don't choose a name. You choose a name, whether it be Ishmael, whether it be Joshua, whether it be Abraham, whether it be Buddha, Gautam, whoever it may be, you always use a meaningful name because it creates good vibration all around. But nevertheless, our lineage came from the Atriya Gotra, which is that of a holy Brahmin, a great sage from India. So our lineage came from that lineage, where over the years, right, as we said, Auntie, over the years, our lineage started to break up, where everybody started to go their own different, because basically my parents, they do business. And as a little boy growing up, I realized I never liked business. And I always like to basically help people. Doing business is actually helping people too, because it's a service to humanity, is service to God, but in a different form. So I say, Dad, I say, let me do something else. He said, well, what you want to do, right? And I like science, so I started to study. But then science have a lot to do with spirituality if people really know and tap into it.
Yes.
Because if someone chants or any mantra, but they must have the how, the love, the devotion, the inner of peace within themselves, right? That aura, if that aura, that person who chants surrounds that person, the divinity will always be around that person, and you will always feel so blessed just to be around that person. That is why our souls are interconnected with certain people. Sometimes we see people and we don't know who that person is, and basically we are so connected with them. It could be probably from this life or the next life, but we just spiritually connected to each and every one of us. And then also our soul can actually tell if that person is not really good or not to be around. But you don't have to shun such a person. You just keep it distance. You just keep it distance because, as I say, a great man once says, "Show me your friends and I tell you who you are." You know.
I got to tell you a quick story. A couple of years back, I was at an event, and this girl, there was something strange about her. And that time, I would feel things more. And I was going around with the microphones. The hostess asked me to move it around, good friend of mine. And when I got to this girl, I would feel something, but it wasn't good. My whole body was just like repel, which is really weird. Didn't think much about it. Even when I touched her, it was really not a good feeling. Like I can't even describe it. It's like a darkness over me. Then I found out that she was going through a lot of stuff and the darkness side of it. And the long story short, and the second time we were at the event and she was there and I was a little close to her, I felt the same thing. I just came back and I spoke to her from a distance or, connect. We're not really connected, but it did not, I've never felt that with some people. And that was really such a strong, strong feeling. I can't even begin to express how my whole body, my tongue, my everything just felt not so good. And then I have people I meet and I know when they were traveling. I know when they were doing this. I know when they were in the city. And I was like, and it's like, how do you know? I just know. So again, it's all these things and the thing about it is when you have a conflict with someone, that means, or you don't resonate, that means you've met in the past and you have a conflict with them. So your body retains that memory. And then you also have those that you know, and I believe people come into your life for a certain thing, for a certain purpose, time frame, and so forth. That's why some people in marriages don't understand that, to thy kingdom, to the end, to thy kingdom come, but that's not always the case, right? So at the end of the day, when we just have to accept it, and when we hold on, because it is what it is. We just don't know. We're all here to learn. We're all here to understand our best, and we have to do our research. We have to do our homework, and we have to have conversations like this, because I'm sure there's somebody out there might catch part of this on the replay. I was like, does that make sense now? And this is what this is about. Because with your teachings now and your experience and your life experience and your soul journey, and we're all going through a soul journey, we want, well, first of all, it's for us, particularly me, I'm sure I'm not a Nivedita, to learn this, because you're here at the right point in time, because we don't talk at all. We never talk ever, ever. But then suddenly everybody was coming at this point in time, you and a few other people, other cousins and so forth, like Nisha and so forth, just came back, and they're all spiritual. So they all had something to tell me and to talk about and to teach me. And this is why I'm saying we're not different from the others. So we have to pay attention in our space. We have to pay attention to who we bring into our space. We have to bring in people who are light, because there is voodoo and there is hoodoo. We all have we're given all the same gifts and talents. But like you said originally, some do it for not so good, to gain, to be a financial draining of people, finances, and some do it for the better of serving humanity. They both serving humanity, except not in a nice way. And again, can that, and it's greed. It has to do with greed too, as well.
So, Dianne, at this point, I would say that because you're very good at telling this story about the little soul and the sun.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes.
I would say just tell that little story in your own way, because I love hearing it from you, because,
Oh,
it's a well-known story. And yeah, just tell that story. Just abbreviate it, but tell the story.
so the soul and the sun, basically, why don't you guys talk? Let me go get it. Okay. I'm going to just remove myself a moment and get it. You have to see it. So, it's a beautiful story. It's a children's story, but I believe it's more for adults. So, you guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So, Rishi, in your tradition, do you teach about the two souls, like the Arhat soul, our original soul, which is divine, and the incarnating soul, which is what we call the Shurshin, that brings with it all the memories and all the stuff locked in our DNA from lifetimes? Do you have that?
As Pandits, we do teach about the soul. Yeah, we speak about our soul because in our scriptures, it's called the Bhagavad Gita, right? GITA, which means God's instruction towards advancement or God's instruction towards achievement. Basically, it is self-realization where Lord Krishna himself speak to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he explained to him, "Fear not for what happens to the body, but if anyone can capture the soul, then you should fear."
Yes, yes,
So anybody can harm the physical body. The body, as I always say, body is just a vessel for the soul. But many of us identify the soul with the body.
yes, yes, exactly.
Here is the book. Okay, by Neil Donald Watts. So basically, we all were created equally. We all created perfectly. But this one little soul wanted to find out about, wanted to feel an emotion. And one of the emotions he wanted to, because he thought he was different. And I think I'm saying the story is always easier when I read it because I haven't read it for a long time. But the long and the short is he wanted to be different. He wanted to feel something. And because all the angels are perfect, this one other soul stepped up and said, I will change myself for you to learn and give you this gift of this lesson as forgiveness. But he said he has to lose himself
To find
and he
himself.
may not recognize him. So hypothetically, Nivedita comes to me and said, I want to learn. And God said, well, how are you going to, what are you going to do? I want to feel something. So I come up now and I said, okay, I will do that for you. Unconditional love. Wasn't thinking about myself and said, okay, I will transform, but you may not recognize me because I will become someone that you don't recognize. But please do hold on to that just because. So the long and the short of the story is sometimes we lose ourselves in order to help another with no ego, no pride, and we give unconditional. Now, there are very few people who would give up everything to do this. And this is what this story is about. At the end of the day, then he realized that he realized that he was perfect. He was who God wanted him to be. And that's the moral of the story, more or less. But I recommend people go out and get the book. I may have mixed up a little bit, but go get the book. It's a beautiful book. And I always read this to my students, meaning adults. Nivedita is one of them. About that, but it's a beautiful, beautiful story. So we are created perfect, but if someone needs our help, we should be the first one to go out there unconditionally and surrender ourselves. By doing that, we actually get back more. But we
That
have
is
to do
true.
it in a way, and we have to do it in a way that when we do give it ourselves, expect anything, because sometimes we can get lost. But we're hoping that when we do this, the love that we have for someone or for humanity will somehow not forget us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense, but the word love itself, people need to tap into it and understand it
Mhm.
once more. People use the word love, but very few people would actually mean it. Like so, yes, you were speaking about something about greed, right?
Mhm.
Greed is really, really strong, eh? And I always remember this quotation: "God have created enough sufficiency for man's need; however, He did not create enough for man's greed."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all tend to want nothing in wrong. You have any nicety, your home, your children, your car, everything that you want. As Lord Krishna says, one must learn to live into this world and one must learn how to live out of this world. Right? God is basically telling you in that way, right? That enjoy the niceties of everything that you have, right? But when you want to come to me, you must want to come to me. Don't let someone tell you to come to me. You must lose yourself to find yourself in order to find me. And there's a saying: when your cup is full, right, you have to take out from it to learn again. So not everything that you learn as an individual in this world would be good, right? Just as your name Saraswati. Saraswati sits on a swan. And the swan is a saying that if there is milk and water poured into a foundation, this one have the ability to cipher and partake of either the milk or the water. Where if you can really poison, that's basically what it was saying, to choose the right from the wrong. So your names have so much meaning in it. This is how people in society must understand. Learn to cipher, pick the good, leave the bad. But you see, it is equilibrium, it is balance. So there will be, and you said so, Auntie, you said that we, God's children, all of us, humanity, we are all God's children. Whether whatever creed, whatever race, whatever you find yourself, we are all God's children. God do not discriminate upon one, but people discriminate upon each other.
And
That's
that's
correct.
so right. The thing about it is we have the yin and the yang, as we know. But in us to know that what is not so good, we have to experience it so we'll know what something's bitter and then something's sweet. So that we'll know,
Right.
like, okay, if we buy those oranges and they're sour, you're not going to buy it again, right? You want the sweet ones, which is, I mean, for food. So it's a taste, it's the experience.
It's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience,
We will get bitter, we will get sweet until one day we understand what is right and what is not. Some of us may probably endure the bitter, and some of us will go back to the sweet. It comes like a baby. When a baby now born, they don't feed a child salt, they give a child sweet. But the day that child tastes salt, that child very well will eat sweet.
It's amazing how we overanalyze things. We over we want to decipher it. We want to take it. The day I accepted and say, okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly in my life was a life changing, transformational, like a birthday. We always have many birthdays, and that is the thing about it. Is the day we say, okay, enough is enough. Okay, this is what I've learned today. It's not easy, never Vita. She's had so much experience. It's not, it's amazing. I admire her for her knowledge and wisdom and the gifts and talents that she has. It's an and again, people don't, and I'm going to say this publicly, because people don't, they undervalue her of what she has to offer. They undervalue you, what you have to offer. They undervalue all of us, what we have to offer, because everybody wants everything for free. And the thing about the free part is what you sow, you will reap, and they will not pay attention. I have no problem if I spend hours with, I never really knew I do this, spend hours and hours with people, but for at least do one thing with it. So I make it feel like my time was worth what it is, and you can better yourself. Like we all serve, right?
I
But
always
we
I
also
agree
have
with
to
you.
survive. We also have to survive too, as well. God did not say,
Yeah.
you can't. And I'll leave that with
No,
you.
you teach those who willing to learn. I always use the wax on, wax off theory. The Karate Kid solution where this guy just wanted just to learn to fight, but he
Mhm.
taught him there's a technique in fighting. It's patience, and if you learn the art of it, then you can master it. But everybody just want to go and learn a mantra, and as Swami once
I
says,
experienced that recently. I was so with the mantra with the Guanyin. Oh my goodness! Because I was sick since about almost 8 months. 8 months for a couple times throughout, and I'm telling you, I was so stressed about it. And the last time when I did it, and she said, and I was so sick that day. I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to let this bother me. And I released it. And since then, I was much better at learning it.
we learn when the time is right. That's all I can tell you.
Absolutely. That's what I said.
Just like the Karate Kid, he learned when the time was right. But the teacher, he did not give up on him. Just as we, I don't mind taking my time and give it to somebody, but someone who will value it, as I said, someone who will value, someone who takes in the knowledge just as I give it.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you could sit down and you could talk, and very few that if it hit the head, it hit the air, whatever it is. Very few people like we do satsang. Satsang mean in congregational worship. I say binu satsang vivek rama kripa sura banaswahi. Mean that we engage in satsang. Sanatan Dharma teaches us that we must have no idle talk. We must only speak about words of goodness, truth, wisdom, to elevate the people, to teach the people. But unfortunately, it have those who want to learn and those who don't want to learn. Like plenty people, majority Hindu people, they sing. Singing is good because it states in the scriptures, Nama Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan, those are the two ways of attaining God, by chanting and glorifying his name and singing and glorifying his name, right? But we also, you just can't have a broom in the kitchen and just expect to learn to sweep. You have to learn the art how to use a broom to sweep. So you have to learn the art in everything, whether it is singing, whether it is chanting, because as Auntie, all of you said, everything is patience, and you have to have love when you portray, and presentation is important. If the same mantra that I had chanted earlier, if I chanted Om Yam Brahma Vira Viru Varanti Param Pradhanam Purusham Tatani Pshikarti Ekardam Ishwaram Tasmin Mushigranashanaya Namaha, it is there, but you might not understand. But if you take your time and you give it to the person, step by step, with how, with love, with devotion, that alone, how you speak to someone is important. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he said, if you learn the scriptures from a competent person, you to become competent. But if you learn it from a incompetent person, you to become incompetent. So it's all about who we surround ourselves with. And we
Mm.
have to be very blessed indeed to surround ourselves with good people. But very rare, as you know, there's a saying, some people will be like wolf and sheep clothing, huh? So you have to know the intellect, the wisdom that will show us where to go. As I said, and I say this openly, please, people, do not get fooled by people who will dwindle you and fool you and milk you of your wealth. Just chanting, glorifying God. Yes, it will take time, but eventually you will get there.
Absolutely. Just quickly, um, this is one thing that it's very challenging. I'm going to choose my words carefully, not to anchor anything to anyone. But the monkey mind, to calm that mind, the meditation, that is to me one of the most challenging things is, which is the
Yes, yes.
secret. So over time, you're going to be talking. You're going to be practicing with us and teach us some of the key wisdoms in how to quiet this mind. Because if we can quiet this mind and we can go to the theta state, funny thing is I do it to everybody, but when I do it for myself, it's more difficult because I have to challenge it. Don't want to say what difficult, cancel that. But I'm saying that is one of the key to all of this is the calmness, the stillness. And it's not one that happens overnight. It's practice, practice, practice.
Practice, correct.
You're
Practice is
going to
very,
be practice, 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 and teach us some of those skills, Pandit Rishi.
of course.
Yeah, good. So now what we will do is let's actually I'm going to do it this way. We're going to say our goodbyes and our thoughts, but I'm going to let you end with a bhajan or mantra and we'll sign off the show that way. So we'll leave that, just in the energy. Let it just flow with the show at the end. Okay, deal?
Of course.
Okay. So,
Sounds
Miss,
good.
you know me. So,
And you know, our teacher says what you chant is what you become.
Of
mhm.
course. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Also, what you eat is what you become too, eh?
Pardon?
What you eat
Also,
is
what
what
you
you
eat.
become.
Yeah.
Well, she knows that. She just finished her um, what is it? Weight
Weight
management.
management consultancy.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, 12 months at the age of 74. 12 months she did that course, and that is not an easy course, trust me.
It
Discipline.
was very
Discipline.
challenging, but
No,
rewarding.
no, no, no. The modules were like deep. The modules, and like I said, anyone, this is why I admire her so much. Anyone who can step up to the plate at that age and say, I'm going to add this to other modalities I have so I can serve more, need to be applauded. So congratulations for that, because I know for the past year, a whole year, a whole year, sure, it's been going through this.
A lot of discipline. Yes, congratulations on that
Oh
also.
yeah, oh yeah, it's a lot of. She learned a lot how to do presentations, and people might be thinking we're talking about her, but don't listen to the words we're saying. Listen to the teachings and learning behind the words of what I'm saying. The discipline. She didn't give up. The time she wanted to give up, oh my goodness, she had her tutors, she had all these mentors and so forth guiding her, but she didn't give up. And she could do it. Anybody could do anything. It's mine. So Nivavita will end with Rishi as well, but we would like to say before we leave.
Well, I've just so enjoyed today because there's many topics come up, and it just opens my heart more and more. Everything that Rishi has spoken about, and your engagement, going back to the cause and effect, going back to the ancestors and all of that is really important. And we often have blessings for our ancestors, and when we bless our ancestors in thought, words, and deeds, no matter what they've done to us, then I think that's an important part of the reconciliation, going back towards the true self, the authentic self, the God self, and everything that Rishi has said. And even though, some of the chants, you don't understand, but it's the frequency and the vibration and the intent behind the chants, which actually do the little micro shifts in the body and in the consciousness. And I've really appreciated that today. So thank you, Rishi. That's been wonderful. And
Then
I
you
look
have.
forward to you being on again.
Of
Yes,
course.
will be. Rishi, you're not going to sing to chant yet. You're going to say your message, whatever message, and then after we'll close off with you.
Just as we're speaking about the ancestral part, but just as ancestral will also give us blessings, ancestral will also give us curse, huh?
Mhm.
Because there is possibility that what our ancestors have done will travel through our generation. Sometimes might even skip a generation and might not fall, but will fall to the second generation or the third generation. So if I have a son and I have done wrong, he might pay for it, but his children will pay for it, or even his children will pay for it. So when we pray, we don't only just pray just for our own being or self being, we pray for generations to come. Because it also says in time that they will have a time where the scriptures, all teachings, religion, whatever it is, right, will no longer exist. Because I just see people getting so modern with everything. And people just begin to forget about God. Because people think, I do this and I do that. Because even in Ramayana stated, I, that, this, mine, and yours. If we learn to take out I, this, that, mine, and yours from our life, we'll be good. Because the I is the ego, and the ego means edging God out.
That's correct. We've heard that before. And you're so right. And boy, do we know about ancestral curse, Rishi.
But we have to remember, we've also had such wonderful ancestors as well.
Of
Yes.
course. Yeah, they're blessings.
Oh, as
Yeah.
you wouldn't be here.
Because we won't be here because of them.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't be here. That's
They're in our consciousness, they're in our consciousness, they're guiding us, they're still
Of
there. It's all
course.
looked into our knowledge base deep in our DNA and RNA.
Yeah. We are
so
nothing without them and through the blessings of them.
Yeah.
absolutely. So what I would say is that we're all here on a journey to go back to home, the enlightenment, to heaven, to God. And how we do that, we have to go through that journey. And I always say to people, it doesn't matter if you've been abused, I'm going to say this, people might say, what is she talking about? Abuse, rape, in an accident. I'm going to talk about the traumatic ones, PTSD, this. You'd be surprised, people commit suicide and so forth. I always say to you, like, we had Cheryl on the last time with her son. If you don't have the strength and resilience to actually work with that for the better, you would not have been given that task. As strange as it sounds, why was I a victim? Why was I this? If we stop playing the victim and start saying, okay, how can I help? What did I learn from this? The scars, I can tell you, the scar tissues, like you talk about, the emotions and so forth, will easily dissipate. And if you look at many of the um, worldwide renowned speakers, and they've had trauma in their life. I always tell the story about Oprah. Oprah didn't talk about her, what she was abused and raped when she was young. That's what made her famous to a certain degree, because she was open and she was vulnerable. And this is what we have to say. We have a story and we cannot hide behind the story. And this is why I applaud Nivedita when she talks about her story when everything was taken away, because it helps others. And we bring it up from time to time to time, and she brings it up more than anything else than me. But the point is, this is what we have to know. If we could not handle it, we would not have been given it. But we have to trust in surrendering to higher cause, and we have to surrender in trusting that, yes, we are where we're supposed to be. There is no magic pill in all of this. There's no magic wand in all of this. Look in the mirror and see. Take inventory of the good, the bad, and the ugly. What doesn't resonate with you? Stay away from it. What is helping you? Do as much as you can. Invest in yourself. We have invested in ourselves. I cannot kid you, man. I'm telling you, it's by time, energy, and money. We have invested in ourselves to be where we are right now. And I'm saying to you, is there's many mindsets have to change about many things in your life. And if you don't do that, you will be stuck spinning your wheel and saying, why me? Then what's going to happen? Like Nivedita said, cause versus effect. We cannot play the blame game. We cannot point the finger and say it's Rishi's fault, it's Nivedita's fault, it's God's fault. No. We have to take responsibility for everything we do, say, eat, put in our bodies. If we decide to go out, if we decide to go drinking, we decide to go partying. And if something happens, you have to be ready and willing to accept the consequences. So, on that note, I would like to say that I'm hoping that this conference, and we did cover a lot tonight, a lot more than I was expected. In this short period of time, we covered a lot. And I love these conversations because it stimulates my mind. And, we have so much teachings. And if you have a question or comment, please put it out there so we can address it next time. What you would like to learn more. We're going to have more teachings, learnings, more guests. But tell us what you want. So,
Bhajans.
Sorry?
I said bhajans.
Bhajans. Yes, on that note, Pandit Rishi Ojar, Sitaram, Namaste. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you the floor for you to lead us out in whatever your heart desire, whatever flows into you, because it's all a flow. We'll talk about spiritual channels and stuff next time. And leave us with a message in song, in mantra, in Sanskrit, or whatever your heart desires that you are led to do to bless us all. And we thank you. Sitaram and Namaste.
Sitaram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Bhajale Govinda, Bhajale Govinda, Bhajale Govindam. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंदम. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. प्रभु जी मेरे आओ, 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 प्रभु जी मेरे आओ. चार ओर मैया भय उदासी, चार ओर मैया भय उदासी. अकिय हरि दर्शन की प्यासी, प्यास में ते आओ जी आओ, अब आओ, प्रभु जी मेरे आओ. भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंदम. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंदम. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. प्रभु जी मेरे आवो, 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 प्रभु जी मेरे आवो. बिनती तेरा प्रभु को ही न जाने, बिनती तेरा प्रभु को ही न जाने. प्रभु तुझे प्रभु को ही न वाले. आँख मुरली बजाओ जियाओ, अब आओ, प्रभु जी मेरे आओ. भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंदम. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंद, भजले गोविंदम. ये दुनिया है प्रभु की माया, भजले गोविंदम. प्रभु जी मेरे आवो, प्रभु जी मेरे आवो, प्रभु जी मेरे आवो, प्रभु जी मेरे आवो, प्रभु जी मेरे आवो. ब्रह्म से बड़ो श्री इति वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय.